So the new Dragonflight cinematic was just revealed, and yes, we were right, the new expansion was in fact Dragonflight. The leaks were true, and Alexstrasza was at the center of it, while most of the other leaks were not exactly right. Now, the cinematic itself, as pretty much every WoW cinematic, was super cool and detailed. However, I would say out of all of them, it was the most confusing one, as it showed characters we had never seen, like who even is this Titan Keeper? Did they just completely retcon Tyr and the entire Chronicle books? And what even are these Dragon Isles? Most importantly, no villain was revealed for the first time ever. So keep up with the video while I break down and explain all the little and the big cool bits and features of the new Dragonflight cinematic. You must have wiped out a million times in your WoW years, but you probably didn't have Squad OV with you. And this is an app that records your instances automatically, and you can see your complete performance from spell visualizations to death recaps, and best of all, it is free. You don't have to do anything but install it, and you can share yours and watch your friend's perspective. So use my link in the description and check out Squad OV. So let's get into the first and the most obvious bit of this expansion, and that is the new zone, the brand new continent of the so-called Dragon Isles. The reason I say so-called is that I don't really get why they're called Isles, or they may just be Isles now, but they probably weren't Isles in the past. This bit is confusing, whether the dragons originate from this place or whether they settled there after their ascension, but it is likely that this is their place of origin. It was said that the Dragon Isles were the brood lands of the Dragonflights, the place where they would later on build their civilization. So, as you probably already know, long ago the proto-dragons, the primitive versions, faced off against Galakron, a massive cannibal dragon that was like the size of an entire zone, and with the help of the Titan Keepers, most importantly Tyr, they managed to defeat him. For this feat, the Titan Keeper empowered them and crowned them as the protectors of Azeroth. It made the dragons turn from a regular mortal race to essentially Titan Keeper level. Now, this next bit here is 100% confirmed. The dragons, when they were promoted, settled on the Dragon Isles, and then they built their civilization here. Whether they originated from this place and only returned to settle their civilization later on is unclear at the moment, but that is besides the point. Why I call them so-called Dragon Isles is that they once used to be a part of the mega continent of Kalimdor. That is what Azeroth was like before the Legion invasion, the Well of Eternity, and the Sundering that split the planet into so many continents, turning it into Azeroth that you know it today. At this point, they haven't confirmed whether these were isles close to the continent, this mega continent, or if they were a part of it. What was their exact location in the primordial world? That bit is unclear at the moment. However, what we do know is that this was a place of some sort of crazy elemental power, that this was not just a regular zone, but like a mega ley line. Like the entire place was just settled on some crazy part of elemental magic madness. I'm guessing this is somehow later going to be related to the Azeroth world, so like just wait for it. Now, Tyr, the Titan Keeper, built Tyrs Hold, that giant tower that you see in the cinematic, when they settled, and the Titan Forge helped them maintain the entire place, as they were obviously allies. In fact, dragons were like their main weapons of the Titan Keepers. So let's take a look at the cinematic now at what was actually revealed. Now you see what the place was like just before the Sundering occurred, as you see that green bit of magic in the distance. This is when the Well of Eternity explosion happened. These Titan Keepers that you see are almost certainly just some powerful Titan Forged, aka Titan Servants like the Earthen and the like that you're probably already familiar with. More than likely, they're not on the scale of the actual Titan Keepers, which were like the manifestations of the Titans on Azeroth. Then something big happens, the world is split apart, the magic leaves the land, and the entirety of Dragon Isles is just gone in the darkness, like its life was completely drained. Because of this, the dragon aspects have to leave their homeland and can no longer be present. So they put the Titan Forge in charge of guarding the place. Essentially, they go dormant, akin to what many Earthen have done in the past. We have seen this with the origin of the dwarves and the gnomes that lay dormant for thousands of years. They lose the light that is going through the beacon, and the dragons tell them that the land must now slumber, hidden from everyone, everyone, even themselves, and that the Watchers will feel them return, and when they do, they must under any cost light the big beacon at Tyrs Hold, because if they don't, they will never be able to return, as there won't be a way for them to navigate back home. So pretty much the entire cinematic is set on this process happening. It is the majority of it, the lighting of this big beacon. Now, the big question, and something that is a mystery at this point, is why did the dragon aspects have to leave when the magic was gone? I'm guessing it had something to do with them staying present with the other multiple races, but I don't see why they couldn't just go, back and forth. Maybe this had something to do with Deathwing and him trying to take the continent for himself and turning it into his main base of operations. Maybe the continent was exposed and the hidden magic would prove to be dangerous later on. Maybe this magic is actually the heart of the Azeroth's world soul, but at the moment, all of this is just sheer speculation. So we see this Titan Forge Watcher throughout the entire cinematic. He's like the main character going through the zones that has been dormant for the past thousands of years. It really seems like the entire place went to sleep and was kept under a deep slumber. It wasn't just cloaked like Maderia with the vibrant life that happened behind the veil. No, the Dragon Isles were just left to the winds of time, as is evident with the moss and the way all these keepers decayed. In fact, it seems like most of them will never be able to reawaken, as so much time has passed and they're just gone. Now, here we come to the most interesting, confusing, and most certainly and obviously big retcon that I think has kinda gone under the radar. Now, this keeper guy that is the main person in the cinematic goes to the top of Tyrs Hold, and suddenly he seems to be looking at the main person sitting in the throne that is in charge, more than likely Tyr being just completely gone and defeated. Now, they didn't outright confirm that this is Tyr, but they strongly hinted at it with their video editing. If this is the case, this is beyond just a massive retcon. In fact, you may be familiar with a place called Tirsfall Glades. Tyrs Fall, the place where Tyr fell, defeating a Catraxi old god general, and there was the entire tome of his there. This is pretty much why the humans settled here and why the dwarves went south. Pretty much a huge event that shaped most of Azeroth's history. Now, if he has been dead on these Dragon Isles the entire time, I don't see how they're going to explain this in any way. So either this is a massive retcon that will more than likely be explained somehow in the future, or this was just a person that was left in charge by Tyr and it isn't actually him personally. I really hope it is the latter, because it would avoid a massive plot hole. I'm guessing Tyr left with the Chronicle and the Earthen and just left some important person to lead the Titan Forge on the Dragon Isles. But that is really a topic in itself. The cinematic now turns to the Watcher being successful, the dragons fighting the beacon, and they manage to return, and then we see all the Dragonflights returning back to their long-lost homeland. The cinematic now ends on the Titan Keepers being reunited with Alexstrasza, and this brings us to what the expansion will be about. This used to be a big dragon kingdom, an advanced one, a massive civilization on these islands that has been abandoned 10 millennia ago. And now, most of the dragon aspects are gone, with betrayal and madness and all the other things that occurred in Azeroth, so it is obvious that we will be helping them and possibly even helping them restore this ancient kingdom to its old glory, if that is possible in any way. Most interesting bit is that they said along with the Dragon's Awakening, all threats awakened, which strongly foreshadows that big threats will be coming, maybe even something related to Galacron. Who knows? Let's wait and see. Thank you for watching. Check out my reaction to Dragonflight by clicking on the screen, and check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos of real-world history. See you next time.